Hey, it's the Fit Gear Hunter here after an afternoon morning class at the CrossFit Homeward in Chapel Hill where I work out. Definitely feel free to drop by if you're in the area. Up today is the optical heart rate sensor analysis and review for the TicWatch Pro 3. So obviously that's not the stock band, so don't get excited about it coming with an orange band. But I have been testing this, the optical heart rate sensor against the H10 chest strap for a number of days just to be able to get a full hold on its accuracy when just doing it standalone. Obviously you can, through the watch, through an app called Runtastic by Adidas, download that from the Wear store, and the Adidas app will allow you to connect to a chest strap. So that actually worked flawlessly. But I wanted to test the optical heart rate sensor because, as we do on this channel, the Fit Gear Hunter and the fitgearhunter.com website, everything is for the purpose of testing it for CrossFit and high intensity interval training. So with every watch we review, we want to know that the optical heart rate sensor, to get an idea of how it could fare standalone in a CrossFit or high intensity interval training workout. So what we're going to do today is we're going to analyze it from a few different areas. Number one, the average heart rate. So does it just pick up the generic average heart rate, and what percentage? Is it 80% accurate, 60% accurate, 105% accurate? Does it overshoot? Secondly, the zone 5. So when you're doing CrossFit or high intensity interval training, you want to be able to capture or track the amount of minutes you spent in the peak heart rate zone. So of your heart rate maximum, the 90 to 100% heart rate zone, how much time did you spend in that area on the Metcon or on the lifting portion? And then thirdly, we want to track the 4 and 5 zones, so 80% and above. So the two highest intensity zones to be able to see if it can keep up on its own with a CrossFit or high intensity interval workout. So we're going to look at it in a series of workouts, just looking at the average heart rate and just the general flow. But then we're going to look at the heart rate graph to see if it also picks up the flow of the workout, at least to track the general exertion levels or the peak time. So let's get into it. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more.
Okay, so to get the heart rate active, this is obviously not the band that came with it, so don't get too excited there. So I push the tracking metric, and you can turn it over, and it does show that there is a red and green diode across the outside. So that's probably how it tracks a little bit better on the outside portions. Okay, so what do we see here? Looking at the workouts just quickly, 104 beat per minute average off the chest strap. This is an H10 chest strap, and then the bottom red zone, 4.5 minutes in the red, 4.5 minutes in the orange, versus what I got on the TicWatch Pro 3, 90 average heart rate versus 104. And then it didn't quite pick up the, this doesn't have the heart rate zones because I was just using the standard app. So we're going to have to miss that for a little bit. The 136 beat per minute average, you can see it was a more intense workout. 16.5 minutes, 18 minutes in the, in the orange, and then 122, but it did pick up some portion of the intense zones and picked up the higher heart rate. 136 beat per minute average. This is a longer Metcon that was really crushing. The training effect, obviously 5.0, and I had 27 minutes in the red line. Total failure to pick it up. Obviously, it did get to the peak at one point, but then just did not sustain it. So 114 beats per minute average versus 136. That's pretty far off the mark. Here's another one, a lot more lifting with the shorter Metcon at the end. 121 beat per minute average, 8.5 in the red, 7.5 in the orange. And it did sort of pick up the flow. We're going to look at the heart rate graphs in just a second. 114 beat per minute average and almost 7 minutes in the orange zone. 113 beat per minute average, 3 minutes in the red, minute 45 in the orange. And then it did pick up that middle line. So it is looking at least reasonable there. Here, 124 beat per minute average, 6 minutes 45 seconds in the red, 5.5 minutes in the orange, and it did pick up a similar flow here. But looking at the heart rate graphs itself, so you can see this is heavy lifting with a shorter Metcon at the end, and it did have somewhat of the flow, it just didn't pick up the full peak. Same thing here, this was a longer Metcon, so it was a little more grueling, and it picked up some of it, but if you look at the bottom of the heart rate graph off the chest strap, it's about 26 minutes in that I start the intense workout. Here it picks it up at about 38 minutes in, so it didn't catch the whole first part of the workout, although the optical heart rate sensor was able to track the higher intense zones. Here, this was a more intense workout, higher peak at the end for a longer period of time, 27 minutes in the red, and it just sort of fell off. It started right, but then it just sort of fell off of the mark. Here, just more intense lifting with a shorter Metcon at the end, and it picked up some of it, so doesn't quite look exactly right. So what do we see? And the middle here, this had, like a sprint run, and then there was, heavy lifting every 90 seconds on the backside of the Metcon after some lifting in the beginning, and it did pick up the run because the run was more, of a monostatic movement. Here's some more lifting in the beginning with the tail end AMRAP. It picked up the tail end, but missed some of the intense heart rate peaks with the lifting in the middle. So what do you get the average? You can see the average heart rate is tracking about 90%. That's okay. That's not fantastic. There's no cardio load to track, but the zone 5, it's only tracking at 43%, and the zone 4 and 5, just those higher level intense zones, tracking at 57%. So if you take the summary of percentages that we're giving credit to, final score of 56%. So it's missing about 44%. It's not giving you a cardio load. It's, I felt like it on average at least tracked the flow of the workout. So it was able to pick up some of the zone 5 time. So, a 43% average in zone 5 is not bad, but the total score, not great. So that's it. Let's go back together for a summary.
So there we have it for the TicWatch Pro 3. The optical heart rate sensor holds up at 56% accurate. So that's missing 44% of the workouts. Obviously, as we saw in the graph, there was zeros all for the cardio load, so it doesn't have any metric, and there currently aren't any apps to downloading for that metric. The exertion score, the epoch, or the training intensity for that particular workout that a lot of watches on the sports market side are offering. So there's no cardio load score, but if anything, you're only getting about 56% accuracy. It was catching the flow of the workout, so that was definitely better than the Huawei GT2, which had bad stats all around, but then it just looked like it wasn't in the game. It looked like I left it at home, and it didn't track the flow of the workout. So at least it was capturing the flow. 56% is still on the somewhat positive side for CrossFit and high-intensity interval training, but the most simple thing that we always should do is make sure you wear a chest strap when training for CrossFit or high-intensity interval training to be able to track your intensity zones. So with that, we're all done. The Fit Gear Hunter, the TicWatch Pro 3 optical heart rate sensor. Up next is going to be the full review for the TicWatch Pro 3, as well as a comprehensive comparison review among 6 primary AMOLED smartwatches on the market right now. Thanks so much for watching.